Shalom, shalom, friends. I am your friend Jojo from Treasure Hunt with Jojo. Now, today I have insights from the Torah portion Bo. Now, if you want to know more about Parashat Bo, right, definitely head over to Malut's YouTube channel and you will learn all about Parashat Bo. Now, I found something interesting in Parashat Bo, and I want to share it with you. Now, Parashat Bo comes from, where are you? Parashat Bo comes from Exodus 10, verse 1 to chapter 13, verse 16, and from the Haftorah, that's the book of the prophets, Jeremiah 46, verses 13 to 28. Now, in Exodus or Shemot 10 verse 1, hear what it says. And I'm reading from Sapphira, from the original. Then Yudevave said to Moses, Go to Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart and the hearts of his courtiers, in order that I may display these my signs among them. Let's go again. Shemot 10 verse 1 or Exodus 10 verse 1 says, Then Yudevave said to Moses, Go to Pharaoh or to Paro, for I have hardened his heart and the hearts of his courtiers, in order that I may display these my signs among them. And then Shemot or Exodus 7 verse 1 says, Yudevave replied to Moshe, See, I place in you the role of Elohim, of God, to Pharaoh, with your brother Aaron as your prophet. And the Shemot or Exodus 7 verse 1 basically describes the situation when Moses had a lot of excuses, and God said, Hear what? I am placing myself in you. So Pharaoh would see you as a God, and I'm allowing your brother Aaron to come with you. Now, what do I want to share with you today? Now, I want to share about the word that says to. So in English, we read it as to, but in Hebrew, it is El, and it is made up of two Hebrew letters, Aleph and Lamed. That gives us the word El. So if we replace the two with the L in the scriptures I mentioned, hear what it would say. Exodus 10 verse 1. Then Yudevave said El Moses, Go El Paro or Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart and the hearts of his courtiers, in order that I may display these my signs among them. Now, what does the word El in Hebrew means? Remember, El is made up of the Hebrew letters Aleph and Lamed. So El is a preposition, right? But it means something else. Now, as a preposition, it means to, it means against, it means into, towards, before, and it speaks to a person, moving towards something. So it points to a direction. Now we see where in Shemot or Exodus 10 verse 1, God said, the covenant keeping God said to Moses, move towards Pharaoh, go against Pharaoh. That's what he said. Go before Pharaoh, right? That is what El means. But another definition of the word El is that El can be seen as a proper noun. For example, when we describe God as El Gibor, El Shaddai, that's a title for God. That's a proper name for God. And so El speaks to a proper name for God as well. Now, as usual, I focus or describe what the Hebrew letters mean. Now, remember I said El is made up of two Hebrew letters, the Aleph and the Lamed. Now, the Aleph represents God, of course. It is the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. The Aleph speaks of the divine one, the one who's beyond human comprehension. Now, if you would look in the ancient Hebrew, you would see a symbol looking like an oxen. And the Aleph speaks of strength, speaks to might, because the ox is an animal, that is very strong. Now, if we look at the Lamed you in ancient Hebrew, the symbol would be a shepherd's staff. So the Lamed speaks to the shepherd's staff, authority, it speaks to leadership as well. And so remember, when we want to find out the origin or the true definition of a word, when we're studying the Bible, we have to look at each of the Hebrew letters. So based on the definitions of the letter Aleph and Lamed that I gave a while ago, when we put it together, we get a deeper understanding of the word. So remember, the Aleph speaks to the divine one, the one who's beyond human comprehension, the one who is strong and mighty. It makes reference to the divine. And the Lamed speaks to the shepherd's staff, it speaks to leadership, it speaks to um the one who is in authority, or it speaks to authority. Now, when we go back to the scripture in Exodus 10, verse 1, what was God saying? Or what is implied when we see the word to, or when we see, if we look at it in Hebrew, the word El? It means, therefore, remember that God said to Moses, I am going to make you God to Pharaoh, and that God is a capital G. So it means that Pharaoh would see the true and living God, the covenant keeping God in Moses, right? Now, I made mention of Shemot, or Exodus 7, verse 1, where God said he would place Moses in the role of Elohim to, to Pharaoh. Now, Elohim, the first two letters of Elohim, is the letters I make mention before, Aleph and Lamed. So Elohim starts with the two letters that is the word El. The same letters that it can also be used as a preposition to, for, against, right? Now, based on the definitions I've said about the two letters, it means that the divine, the one who is beyond human comprehension, who has the divine authority, would go, so he would represent himself through Moses, and he will go against Pharaoh, the one who is seen as one who has strong leadership. Because remember, Pharaoh considered himself to be a god, right? So it means that he's strong, and people look to him. People look to him for guidance and all of that. Now, El, Aleph and Lamed also speaks to, or it can be applied to, men of might and rank. And Pharaoh is a man, or is a king who has might and rank, right? And so the divine God was going against this man who considered himself strong, who considered himself a man of might and rank. Now, it's very interesting, right, that God would have said to Moses, Pharaoh will see me through you. Remember, initially when Moses went to Pharaoh, and told him that you never said to let my people go. And Pharaoh was like, huh? What are you talking about? Who is that God? Get away from in front of me. I am God here. Move from in front of me and let the people do their work. And time and time again, we see where Moses, on many occasions, on numerous occasions, he would go to Pharaoh and say, let my people go. And it so happened that God would have caused different plagues to affect the Egyptians, to affect Pharaoh, to affect Egypt. Now, God said, the true God, the covenant keeping God, hear what he said to Moses in Shemot or Exodus 7 verse 1. I, the divine, the supreme judge, the mighty one, remember that is the Aleph, Pharaoh will see me through you. So because God placed himself in Moses, Moses was seen as the divine representative of God. So it didn't matter how, you know, Pharaoh behaved. The truth is, the one who is strong, the one who has strong leadership, the one who has the divine authority is greater than any man who sees himself as a hero or sees himself as someone who, has might and rank who people look up to. Right? Now, the word El also speaks a hero. So now we can see why Pharaoh was behaving like that. Because remember, Egypt was a superpower. Everybody had to come to Egypt in order to survive. Right? And so Pharaoh, see it as, okay, well, I am God. Everybody's coming to me. So I don't care about your God. And that is what El means. Right? The strong authority, it speaks the divine leadership, the strong leader, the strong and mighty one. Now, how can we apply all that I've said to our lives? Now, this is a new week, right? There are many challenges ahead of us, right? There are also persons who, are somewhat like Pharaoh. There are situations, circumstances that would try to limit us, like the children of Israel. Now, because you understand what El means, it not only means it not only means to or against or for, it also describes who our God is, the strong and mighty one, the one who whose authority is beyond, those men who, who see themselves as strong or see themselves as mighty. And so I want to encourage you this afternoon. Remember who goes before you. Remember that you are the divine representative of God in the earth. God used Moshe to show Pharaoh, the one who sees himself as El or saw himself as God, to prove to him that guess what? There is no other God like Yudevave. I want you to walk in that authority and to remember that El, the God of power and might, lives in you, and people, those who you come in contact with this week, will see God, the divine Yudevave in you. Have a wonderful Sunday evening. Blessings. Shalom.